The massive alien ship hung over New York like a gleaming silver cloud, its presence marking humanity's official entry into the galactic community. Below, James Miller stood among Earth's diplomatic team, trying to hide his disappointment at how the meeting was going. "Your species is quite primitive," the tall, blue-skinned ambassador declared, looking down at the assembled humans. "But we welcome all developing races into the Galactic Council, even those who have barely mastered basic space travel." James kept his face neutral, but his hands tightened into fists behind his back. 6 months had passed since first contact, and every meeting went the same way. The aliens treated humans like children who had just learned to walk. The Galactic Council's terms were simple but limiting. Earth could trade with other worlds, but couldn't build advanced weapons. They could travel to nearby stars, but only in ships approved by the Council. They could learn about alien technology, but only the most basic kinds. "We accept these terms," Earth's president announced, though James saw the same frustration in her eyes that he felt in his heart. Later that evening, James walked through the empty halls of the UN building, his footsteps echoing in the silence. A young intern, Robert, ran up to him with a tablet. "Sir, you need to see this," Robert said, breathing hard. "The geological team in South America found something strange." James looked at the images on the tablet. Deep in a cave system, carved into the stone walls, were markings unlike anything he'd seen before. They seemed to glow with a faint blue light, and something about them made his head hurt when he tried to focus on them. "How old are these markings?" James asked. "That's the thing, sir. They're at least 100,000 years old, but they're made of a material we can't identify, and they're giving off energy readings." James felt a chill run down his spine. He'd seen similar symbols before in his grandfather's old books. His grandfather had been called crazy for his theories about ancient human civilizations being more advanced than modern historians believed. Over the next few days, more reports came in. Similar markings were found in caves across the planet. Each discovery was carefully hidden from their alien visitors. James coordinated with military teams to secure the sites, keeping them off official records. During a council meeting a week later, James noticed something that made his blood run cold. One of the alien delegates wore a ring with markings similar to those in the caves. When he tried to ask about it, the delegate quickly covered the ring and changed the subject. That night, James sat in his office, connecting the dots. The aliens' patronizing attitude, their strict limitations on human advancement, the ancient markings that they seemed to recognize, it all pointed to something bigger. His computer beeped with an encrypted message from a research team in Australia. They'd managed to partially translate some of the cave markings. The message was brief but clear. "To our children, when the time comes, you will remember, we did this to protect you. The power sleeps in your blood." James looked out his window at the alien ships hovering over the city. Their presence no longer felt welcoming. It felt like they were watching, waiting, afraid of something. A soft blue glow caught his attention. The old ring he'd inherited from his grandfather was glowing faintly, the same color as the cave markings. As he stared at it, the symbols began to make sense, like a language he'd known long ago and forgotten. "Sir," Robert knocked on his door. "Military command just reported something strange. All their personnel with ancient artifacts are reporting the same thing. They're starting to understand the symbols." James touched his ring, feeling the strange warmth spread through his hand. "Tell them to keep it quiet, and get me everything we have on prehistory human civilization. I think we've been looking at our past all wrong." As dawn broke over New York, James watched the alien ships with new eyes. They thought they were dealing with a primitive species taking its first steps into space. But maybe, just maybe, they were actually dealing with a sleeping giant. And that giant was starting to wake up. The truth about humanity's real place in the galaxy was hidden in plain sight, written in glowing symbols as old as civilization itself. The aliens' patronizing smiles now seemed more like nervous masks, hiding a deeper fear of what humanity might remember. Captain Anna Reed stood on the red surface of Mars, her breath steady inside her helmet as she studied the strange doorway carved into the cliff face. Unlike the rough-hewn caves of Earth, this entrance was perfectly geometric, its edges still sharp after countless millennia. "Command, we found something that doesn't match any known geological formation," she reported, running her gloved hand over the smooth surface. The same blue symbols from Earth's caves lined the doorway, but these were larger, clearer, and pulsed with a stronger light when she touched them. Her team of 4 stood behind her, their lights illuminating the massive door. The Galactic Council's observation satellite would pass overhead in 20 minutes. They needed to work fast. "The energy readings are off the charts," tech specialist Mark said, checking his instruments. "Whatever's powering these symbols, it's been running for at least 50,000 years." Anna placed her grandfather's ancient pendant against the central symbol. Like James Miller's ring back on Earth, it had started glowing recently. The door responded immediately, lines of blue light spreading outward like cracks in ice. "Quick, inside," she ordered as the door slid open silently. They hurried in just as dust storms provided natural cover from the satellite above. The chamber they entered took their breath away. It was enormous, stretching hundreds of meters in every direction. Holographic displays flickered to life as they walked in, showing star maps and diagrams their minds struggled to comprehend. "This isn't just a cave," Mark whispered. "It's an archive." In the center of the chamber stood a pillar of light. As Anna approached it, images began to form, humans, but different from modern humans. Taller, stronger, with an aura of power that even the hologram conveyed. "These are the elders," she said, remembering the fragments of translation from Earth. "Our ancestors." The hologram showed scenes of these ancient humans building incredible machines, traveling between stars as easily as modern humans drove cars. They shaped planets, harnessed the energy of suns, and were respected and feared by other alien races. Then the images change, showing a great darkness approaching from between galaxies. The elders faced a choice: fight and risk extinction, or hide and survive. "They chose to hide us," Mark said, watching the images. "But how do you hide an entire civilization?" The answer appeared before them. The elders had engineered a great regression, altering their own DNA to limit their powers and technology. They hid their knowledge in secret places like this, protected by genetic locks that would only open when the time was right. Anna's radio crackled. "Captain, we've got company. 3 alien ships just entered Mars orbit. They're not Council designs." "They must have detected the door opening," she said. "Quick, download everything you can." As her team worked, Anna found a sealed container marked with the same symbols as her pendant. Inside was a crystal that pulsed with inner light. When she touched it, knowledge flooded her mind. Star maps, scientific formulas, the true history of Earth. "The Council lied to us," she said, her voice shaking. "They didn't find us by accident. They've been watching Earth, waiting to see if we would awaken." A distant explosion rocked the archive. The alien ships were firing at the surface, trying to bury the entrance. "Everyone out now," Anna ordered, clutching the crystal. "And send this to Earth immediately." The regression wasn't just physical. The elders locked away our memories, our knowledge, everything that made us great. And now the locks are breaking. They barely made it out before the entrance collapsed, but it didn't matter. They had what they came for. As their ship broke Mars orbit, avoiding the alien vessels, Anna looked at the crystal glowing in her hand. "Tell James Miller we found proof," she told her communications officer. "Humanity isn't evolving or advancing. We're remembering. And based on how scared these aliens are, what we're about to remember is going to change everything." The crystal pulsed once more, and for a moment, Anna saw the galaxy as her ancestors had seen it, not as a vast, unknown expanse, but as home. In a hidden laboratory beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Tom Walker stared at the genetic map floating in the holographic display. The double helix structure of human DNA twisted before him. But it wasn't normal DNA. Sections that had always been dismissed as junk DNA now glowed with familiar blue patterns. "It's like a lock," Dr. Maria Collins said, manipulating the display. "Look at these sequences. They're not random at all. They're deliberately placed barriers." They had been working nonstop since receiving the data from Mars. The crystal Anna brought back had contained more than just historical records. It held the key to understanding what the elders had done to their own people. "Our DNA is like a computer with most of its systems turned off," Tom explained to the military observers behind the glass. "The elders didn't just limit our physical capabilities. They locked away our potential behind genetic firewalls." Maria pointed to a specific sequence. "This is what's starting to break down. The markers we found in people with glowing artifacts. Their DNA is changing. The locks are failing." In the medical bay next door, 20 volunteers lay in monitoring beds. All of them had come in contact with the ancient symbols, and all showed the same changes. Their DNA was remembering its original form. "Subject 7's readings are spiking," a nurse called out. Tom rushed to the observation window. Inside, a young soldier named Peter was floating 3 feet above his bed, surrounded by a faint blue aura. His vital signs were off the charts, but he showed no signs of distress. "How do you feel?" Maria asked through the intercom. Peter opened his eyes, which now shimmered with the same blue light. "I remember," he said softly. "Not everything, but I know things I never learned. I can feel the energy flowing through the building, through the earth itself." More subjects began showing similar changes. One woman could see through walls. Another could move objects with his mind. Each awakening was stronger than the last. "Sir," a security officer interrupted, "we're picking up unusual energy readings from major cities worldwide. It's spreading." The wall screen showed news reports from around the globe. People were changing spontaneously, their dormant abilities activating. The genetic cascade had begun. The elders built in a failsafe, Maria realized, studying the data. Once enough people started to change, it would trigger a mass awakening. "We're not just breaking the chains, we're shattering them." Alarms blared through the facility. Above ground, alien ships had appeared, breaking through Earth's defensive screen. The Galactic Council had decided to stop the awakening by force. "They're too late," Tom said, watching as Peter walked through the supposedly secure door like it was made of smoke. "We're remembering who we are." Maria's own pendant began to glow brighter than ever. Knowledge flooded her mind. Equations that explained the fabric of space-time, the principles behind faster-than-light travel, the true nature of consciousness itself. "The elders didn't just lock away our physical abilities," she gasped. "They hidden entire branches of science, mathematics, understanding that the galaxy isn't ready for." The facility shook as alien weapons struck the mountain above. But now, the awakened subjects moved with purpose. Peter raised his hands, and a shield of pure energy surrounded the base. Others joined him, their combined power creating defenses that the aliens' weapons couldn't penetrate. "Send word to every research station," Tom ordered. "The genetic sequence is unlocking itself now. We just need to help people manage the awakening safely." Through the camera feeds, they watched as more and more humans began to change. The aliens' attack had triggered exactly what they had feared, a mass activation of humanity's true potential. "We're not going back to sleep," Maria said, feeling her own DNA beginning to shift. "The elders locked away our power to protect us, to hide us. But now it's time to wake up." Above them, the alien ships retreated as waves of energy rippled from the surface of Earth. Humanity wasn't just breaking its chains, it was remembering how to forge them into something new. The galaxy was about to meet the real human race, whether it was ready or not. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council erupted in chaos as the emergency session began. Hundreds of alien representatives shouted and argued, their voices mixing into a storm of fear and anger. The humans must be stopped. The Centaurian delegate roared, his crystalline form flashing with warning colors. We all remember the stories of the ancient ones who vanished eons ago. These humans are their descendants. In the center of the chamber, 3 human representatives stood calmly. James Miller, now with eyes that glowed like blue stars, watched the panic with understanding. Beside him, Anna Reed and Dr. Tom Walker remained silent as accusations flew around them. "Your species deceived us," the council leader said, trying to maintain order. "You presented yourselves as primitives while hiding your true nature." "We didn't deceive anyone," James replied, his voice carrying effortlessly through the chamber. "We didn't know. Our ancestors hid our true nature from ourselves." The chamber's displays showed real-time footage from Earth. Humans were awakening everywhere, remembering abilities that defy the Council's understanding of physics. Cities were being transformed as people instinctively reshaped matter at the molecular level. "The quarantine fleet is in position," a military commander announced. "We can isolate their solar system before." The commander froze as Anna raised her hand slightly. Not in threat, but in demonstration. Every ship in the quarantine fleet had stopped moving, held in place by forces the Council's scientists couldn't explain. "We don't want conflict," Tom said quietly, "but we will not be chained again. Not by ourselves, and not by you." An ancient member of the Council, skin like weathered bark, stepped forward. "I was there," he said, his voice trembling. "I was young when the Ancient Ones walked the stars. Their power was beyond imagination, but they were not cruel. They were guardians." Images appeared in the air around James, not projected, but formed from pure energy. They showed the truth, humans of the past standing against cosmic horrors, protecting younger races, building wonders that still hung between the stars. "Until something made them afraid," the ancient counselor continued. "Something that even they feared. So they hid their children, you humans, and made you forget. But they left warnings for us, for those who were there. Warnings that when humanity awakened, we must not interfere. Because something worse is coming," Anna said, understanding flowing through her awakened mind. "That's why we needed to sleep to hide. Until we were needed again." The council chamber grew quiet as the implications sank in. The humans weren't a threat to contain. They were an ancient shield reactivating just before a storm. "Your own weapons proved it," Tom added. "When you attacked Earth, nothing you had could harm us. Because our ancestors helped build your civilizations, they knew exactly what defenses we would need." James stepped forward, his presence now filling the chamber with a tangible sense of power. "We're not here to conquer or rule. We're here because we're remembering our duty. The same duty our ancestors fulfilled, to protect life in this galaxy." Screens around the chamber began showing new images, dark shapes moving between stars, disturbing patterns at the edges of known space. The same patterns that had frightened the elders so long ago. "You have a choice," Anna said to the council. "Stand with us against what's coming, or stand aside. But we will not be stopped. We cannot be stopped. The galaxy needs its guardians again." One by one, the council members began to lower their voices, their fear turning to something else. Hope. They had relied on technology and politics to maintain peace, but against cosmic threats, perhaps they needed something more. "The quarantine fleet is released," the council leader announced. "All restrictions on Earth are lifted. If you are truly the children of the Ancient Ones, then perhaps this awakening comes not a moment too soon." James nodded, his eyes seeing far beyond the chamber walls. "We remember more every hour. Not just power, but purpose. The galaxy never knew our real strength because we chose to hide it. Now, they'll know why we hid, and why we've returned." Across Earth, billions of humans experienced the awakening at once, like a wave of light sweeping across the planet. Ancient knowledge and power flowed through generations of dormant genes. Peter stood atop Mount Everest, no longer needing protection from the cold or thin air. Around him, Others floated in the sky, their bodies glowing with inner light as they remembered who they truly were. Below, cities were transforming as awakened humans instinctively reshaped them into forms that bridged the gap between ancient glory and modern needs. The changes are stable, Dr. Maria Collins reported from her floating laboratory above New York. Every human on Earth is awakening, exactly as the elders planned. No rejections, no failures. In orbit, massive structures began to appear as humans remembered how to manipulate matter and energy. Ancient defense platforms, hidden beneath the surface of the moon and asteroids, activated under the touch of their descendants. The knowledge isn't just technical, Tom observed, watching as a group of children effortlessly constructed a quantum computer from raw materials. We're remembering culture, art, music that hasn't been heard in 100,000 years. Across the solar system, long dormant outposts lit up. Mars revealed entire cities buried under its red sands. Venus's harsh atmosphere began to shift as ancient terraforming systems reactivated. The asteroid belt transformed, showing itself to be an ancient shipyard waiting for its makers to return. Each awakened human is remembering different parts of our heritage, Anna explained to the council observers. Some remember science, others remember art or philosophy. Together, we're rebuilding our complete civilization. The changes weren't just physical. Humans found themselves understanding complex mathematical principles that unified quantum mechanics and gravity. Children drew star maps of galaxies they'd never seen. Musicians played instruments that created colors in the air. We were never meant to stay asleep forever, James said, standing in the Elder Archive on Mars. Each generation had the potential to wake up, but only when all the conditions were right, when we were truly needed. In homes and schools across the planet, parents helped children manage their awakening abilities. The process was smooth, guided by inherited memories that told each person exactly how to control their new powers. The elders left nothing to chance, Maria noted, studying the genetic codes. Every safety measure, every protection was built into our DNA. We can only use these abilities to protect and create, never to dominate or destroy. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, an ancient facility activated. Its doors opened to reveal vast halls, filled with ships that could cross galaxies. They were elegant things of crystal and light, waiting for their pilots to remember how to fly them. We're reaching about 60% of our full potential, Tom calculated, monitoring the global awakening. The elders estimated it would take one full Earth year to completely restore our species. In low Earth orbit, the first new space station took shape. Not built, but grown from energy and matter shaped by awakened minds. It was beautiful, a floating city of crystal and light that served as humanity's first step back into their celestial heritage. "Look at this," Peter called out, having discovered another hidden archive. The images it showed were stunning. Humans as they would become. Beings of energy and matter, wisdom and power, guardians of life across multiple galaxies. Anna stood on the lunar surface, watching Earth glow with new light as millions of minds reached out to the stars. "We're not just awakening to what we were," she said. "We're awakening to what we must become." The galaxy watched in awe as humanity rose from its long sleep. Ships from 1,000 worlds came to witness the return of the Ancient One's children. Some came in fear, others in hope, but all knew that the universe would never be the same. The elders didn't just hide us, James realized, reading more of the ancient records. They planted us here, like seeds waiting for the right season to grow. And now, as darkness approaches the galaxy again, spring has finally come. Above a transformed Earth, the stars seemed to shine brighter, welcoming the return of their long-lost guardians. The room at the center of the moon was empty except for a single pillar of light. Around it stood James, Anna, Tom, and Maria, their awakened powers letting them breathe in the vacuum. The wall surfaces rippled like liquid metal, covered in flowing symbols that now made perfect sense to their enhanced minds. "This is it," James said softly, "the final message from the elders. The real reason they made us sleep. The pillar of light expanded, forming a hologram of an elder. She was tall, her form radiating power, yet her eyes held deep sadness. When she spoke, her voice echoed not just in their ears, but in their minds. To our children, if you are seeing this, then the great sleep is ended. You have remembered who you are. Now you must know why we made you forget. Images filled the chamber, showing the galaxy as it was 100,000 years ago. Humans were everywhere, protecting younger races, building wonders, pushing back the darkness between stars. We were the guardians of 5 galaxies, the elder continued. Not rulers, but protectors. We helped life flourish. We taught. We preserved. Until we discovered something that even we could not fight. The images change, showing massive dark shapes moving between galaxies. They were so large they could swallow solar systems, so ancient they made humans look like newborns. The sight of them made even their awakened minds shiver. The Void Ones, Tom whispered, the knowledge suddenly clear in his mind. They consume galaxies, not just matter and energy, but life, consciousness, even reality itself. We fought them, the elder's message continued. For 1,000 years, we held them back, but they were endless. For each one we destroyed, 10 more came. We realized we could not win, not as we were. The hologram showed the Elder Council making their final decision. So we made the great sleep. We hid our children, you, on Earth. We locked away your powers, your memories, everything that made you visible to them. We scattered our technology across the stars in safe places, and we wrote our final message in your very cells. Maria gasped as new knowledge flooded her mind. The regression wasn't just to hide us. It was to let us evolve new defenses. Each generation added something new to our capabilities, even while we slept. Yes, the elder smiled sadly. You are not just what we were. You are more. Your bodies and minds have spent 100,000 years preparing for this moment. The Void Ones are returning, but now you are ready to face them. Around them, the moon's surface transformed, revealing vast chambers of ancient weapons and ships. But they weren't dusty relics. They had been growing, evolving, waiting for their makers to return. Our final gift to you is choice, the elder said. You have our power, but not our fear. You have our knowledge, but not our failures. You can face this threat in your own way, with strength we never had. The message was ending, but one final image appeared. A map of dark energy currents flowing between galaxies. Along those currents, massive shapes were moving, coming closer. They'll reach the Andromeda Galaxy in 1 Earth year, Anna calculated. The Milky Way in 2. We have that long to prepare, James said. To master our full powers, to wake up the ancient defense networks, to unite the galaxy against what's coming. The elder's image smiled one last time. Remember who you are. Remember why we chose to sleep rather than surrender. Remember that you carry not just our legacy, but the hopes of every living thing in 5 galaxies. The message ended, but the chamber continued to transform. The walls became transparent, showing them the earth below, glowing with the light of awakened humanity. Now we know, Tom said quietly. We're not just remembering our past. We're preparing for our future, Maria finished. The elders didn't hide us to keep us safe. They hid us to keep us secret until we were needed most. Above them, the stars seemed to dim slightly, as if sensing the approaching darkness. But this time, when the Void Ones arrived, they wouldn't find helpless galaxies waiting to be devoured. They would find humanity, awake and ready. At the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy, reality itself began to tear. The Void Ones emerged from the darkness between stars, their massive forms blocking out entire star clusters. They moved with the confidence of predators who had never known defeat. But this time, something was waiting for them. The combined fleets of 5 galaxies hung in space, led by ships of crystal and light. At their center, the newly awakened humans stood ready. A year of preparation had transformed them into what the Elders always knew they could become. James stood on the command deck of the Guardian, humanity's flagship. His form flickered between solid matter and pure energy as he directed the defense network that spanned thousands of light years. "They're here," Anna announced. Her consciousness spread across multiple dimensions to track the enemy's movement, exactly as the Elders predicted. The first Void One struck at Andromeda's outer arm, expecting to find easy prey. Instead, it met a wall of pure force as ancient defense platforms, hidden for 100,000 years, activated at once. "All ships, execute Pattern 7, Tom commanded. The fleet moved as one, forming geometric patterns that channeled energy from the very fabric of space. Fire. Light brighter than supernovas erupted from 1,000,000 ships. The Void One recoiled, its darkness pierced for the first time in its ancient existence. But more were coming. "They're adapting," Maria reported from her science station, where she coordinated with alien scientists from across 5 galaxies. "Just like the Elders warned. Each attack teaches them. Then we show them something new," James said. He raised his hand, and every awakened human in the fleet responded. Their combined consciousness reached out, not to attack, but to understand. The Void Ones were ancient, yes. Powerful, yes. But they had never faced beings who could see them for what they truly were, lost children of the universe's first moments, twisted by eons of loneliness into cosmic predators. "Now," James commanded. Millions of awakened humans focused their power, not to destroy, but to change. Light poured from their ships, carrying not death but transformation. The nearest Void One's darkness began to shift, its ancient hatred meeting something it had never encountered: understanding. The Elders couldn't beat them, Anna realized, watching the battle unfold, because they were fighting the wrong way. "We don't need to destroy the Void Ones. We need to wake them up, just like we woke up." Across the battlefield, more ships joined the effort. Alien races that had once feared humanity now added their own unique energies to the pattern. The Void Ones found themselves surrounded not by enemies, but by a force that offered them a choice. "Look," Tom pointed as the first Void One's darkness began to glow from within. Its massive form shrank, condensed, transformed. Where there had been a galaxy-eating monster, there was now a being of pure light. More Void Ones underwent the change as the combined fleet pressed forward. Some fought back, their ancient hatred too deep to reach. But for each one that fled, another accepted the offer of transformation. "The Elders didn't just prepare us to fight," Maria said, understanding flowing through her awakened mind. "They prepared us to heal, to do what they couldn't, face the darkness without becoming dark themselves." The battle lasted weeks as the fleet moved through both galaxies, facing each Void One in turn. Some were changed, some fled to the darkest spaces between galaxies, but none remained to threaten the light of civilization. In the aftermath, James stood with the others on a newly transformed world at the edge of space. Below them, former Void Ones were learning to create rather than destroy, guided by the same awakening that had transformed humanity. "We're not just guardians of 5 galaxies now," Anna said, watching alien ships come and go freely through the former battlefield. "We're guardians of hope. And teachers," Tom added, "just like the Elders were for us." The stars shone brighter than ever as ships of light patrolled the galaxies. Humanity had awakened not to rule or conquer, but to protect and transform. The Elders' long plan had worked better than they could have imagined. "The galaxy never knew our real power," James said softly, "because real power isn't about destruction. It's about change, about growth, about hope." Above them, the future stretched out endless and bright, full of possibilities that even the Elders had never dreamed of.